Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Ball Jersey. Joe Archino back here, and there are 23 games left in the NBA season for the Cleveland Cavaliers, regular season that is. And the question is, should the Cavs rest LeBron down the stretch moving forward? And it's a very interesting dynamic, especially when you take into account that LeBron is playing the fewest minutes of his career this season. Certainly right now, the Cavaliers are not in a great spot, and if it were that they were playing out of their minds right now and they were just everything was clicking, everything was perfect, then I think this question becomes much easier to answer. But because of the internal struggles of the Cleveland Cavaliers, this question becomes a little bit more difficult to answer. But at its core, what this comes down to is this. You have to always take into account LeBron James has played more minutes in the NBA than any other player in the league these past 5 seasons, going on 6 now. Remember, he's been in the last 5 NBA Finals, and I think we all most likely think soon to be in 6 straight NBA Finals. Now, he hasn't been on the winning end of all of them, but he's played an exorbitant amount of minutes in all of them. I mean, I think when it's all said and done for LeBron, the series I'm really going to look back on and see how much fatigue it really put on him was the second time that they played the San Antonio Spurs. His last championship in Miami, year 4, when they lost to San Antonio. I think you look at that series, and it was utterly apparent that San Antonio was the better team. It was a blowout, that series, just the way it was. I mean, you had the first game where you had the air conditioning kind of mishap, and then LeBron had the cramps. They win game 2, and after that, it was just a total rout. And then San Antonio, of course, is champions of the league. But LeBron played so many minutes during that series. Eric Spoelstra really never could take him off the floor. I do fault Spoelstra because he should have given LeBron more rest, but you can't. It's so hard to blame him at the same time because nothing was working in that series. He was the only one who you really could really get anything consistent out of, and he was just doing whatever he could to try to win the NBA championship. But I think when you look back on that series, the fatigue that came out of that is certainly something that when it's all said and done might have put a lot more stress on LeBron's career than there needed to be. But at the same time, this season, the objective, the task at hand, I don't know if the Cavs can really afford to rest LeBron too much because look, are they still going to get to the finals? Yes. Is anyone really going to challenge them legitimately in the East? I just don't think so. Last season, we saw what it was. They sweep the Celtics in the first round. They get by the Bulls without really Kyrie Irving, and of course, Kevin Love wasn't even able to go in the playoffs. And then against the Atlanta Hawks, the number 1 seed in the East that season, they sweep them without Kyrie Irving. So I think right there last season was as good an indicator as anything that they will get, that they really don't have that much competition in the Eastern Conference. Are the Cavs as good as they were last season towards the second half? No, they are not, but certainly I don't think that the East is going to still present them with enough challenges. But it just comes down to, what do you want to do with LeBron? Do you want to keep on playing him? Do you want to rest him? Of course, the only person who can answer that question is LeBron James. And certainly I think part of the reason why LeBron wanted Blatt out was he has more of a say in things with Tyronn Lue. I think maybe he has more comfort expressing his opinions and kind of laying down the law with Tyronn Lue because Lue was a player in this league. Lue knows how it works. Lue knows when a Kobe Bryant or LeBron James says something, that's really the word of the team. And for LeBron, it's all going to come down to his body. Now, he says that he feels good physically right now, and earlier I heard some people talking, and it makes a lot of sense. You know, LeBron has not attacked the rim as much this season, and clearly I think that's been in an effort to preserve his body more for the playoffs because LeBron is a bulldozer when he attacks the basket. We just know he's going to get fouled. He's going to get his points. He has really taken a lot more shots this season. His field goal percentage is one of the lowest that it's been in a couple seasons for LeBron, but that's because he's taking more shots and he's not really throwing his body in there and getting banged up as much around the basket. And smart on his part because he's preserving his minutes a little bit. It's just all preserving his body as much as possible to get back to the NBA Finals. And the dangerous part of that is, what if you don't get back to the finals? Now, again, I think that's all hypothetical. I do think they will. The East is not as big a challenge, but going into the playoffs with the wrong kind of momentum could spell doom for this Cleveland Cavaliers team, because right now, if you asked me 2 weeks ago how big the drop-off was between the Cavs and between anyone else in the East, I would have told you it was the size of this room, if not bigger. But now, that's changed dramatically. Right now, I don't think that same differential exists. They really have been struggling with their identity. It just, when you watch them play and you compare them with the teams that they most likely will face in the finals, like a Golden State, they don't move the ball like a Golden State does. They don't communicate like a Golden State does. They don't play smart like a Golden State does. They're a better defensive team when they want to be. Key emphasis there, want to be, than Golden State. But, wanting and doing, there's a big difference between the two of those words. And I think the Cavs had that groove going a little bit under Tyronn Lue where everything was working, but it takes a commitment and it takes a lot of effort to bring that to the table every single night, and you just don't always see that willingness of the players on the team to constantly be moving around, people constantly making the defense have to work because they're just standing in the same place instead of being open, instead of having floor awareness like Golden State does. These are not easy questions to answer, but I think when it comes down to it for the Cavaliers, it all comes down to preserving momentum, going into the playoffs with the right stretch, because LeBron's swept his last 3 first-round opponents the last 3 consecutive seasons. He did it against the Celtics, he did it against the Bobcats, and then he did it again in the season before that. But it's just one of those things where if you were playing really good basketball right now, I would say yes. Start to rest LeBron. Let those knees get some rest. Let his body heal up because you'll be in the finals. It's just about keeping everyone healthy. But at this point, you can't keep playing the way that they are and go into the playoffs and expect to duplicate the results of last season. It just doesn't work like that. They have to do everything in their power to wake up now, to get back into the rhythm of what they can do. It takes effort. They're capable of doing it, which I think is the most frustrating part of all. It'd be a difference if this team was not capable of doing elite things, but they are. They really can do whatever they have to do on the floor at any given time, but it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of commitment, and right now I just don't think that it makes a ton of sense based on the way that they're playing to rest LeBron down the stretch, but we will certainly have to see how things play out for the Cavaliers. Until then, Jersey Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino and on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino, and I'll see everybody next time.